tell us why you decided it was time to go and meet with a financial advisor?
I reached an age where I felt it was appropriate to start planning for the future. I vividly remember sitting on the couch and seeing an advert for funeral planning. So that was
a trigger point.
It was quite a pivotal moment. All joking aside, now I think mid-40s it's probably time to start being sensible, grow up a little bit, and move away from the tried and tested richest man in Babylon strategy of 10% of your salary goes into your savings account. So that, and also I reached a stage in my relationship where with my partner that I felt it was appropriate for us to work together and really seek some strong and solid advice.
How did you go about seeking that advice?
I previously worked in a financial services organisation, so knew that financial advisors were readily available. I guess I was fortunate to know of Treysta. But it was a case of speaking to a couple of people, getting some referrals, also comparing the advice that I had from Treysta with another organisation and settling what I felt was the most prudent and appropriate for myself and Sam at the time.
I understand that one of the core strategies involved setting up a self-managed super fund.
That's right.
And utilising that to structure to buy an investment property. Can you tell me why this strategy appealed to you?
Yeah, I previously owned property in England and felt that traditionally it's probably a very sound and safe investment strategy. As a first investment for Samantha and myself, we felt that safe was probably prudent. We were blissfully unaware until we spoke to Treysta that there was the opportunity there to buy property within super. So once that notion was put to us, it quickly gained momentum, and we really felt that it was a no-brainer to make our super monies work for us in the property market.
That type of arrangement can be quite complex. Are you able to convey your experience of implementing that strategy?
That, to be honest, was our biggest fear, the complexity around it. But I have to say that the whole process was almost seamless. We had initial advice from both Mark and Ben here, then through Craig at Gennaro. So I was impressed with the diligence. I think we were cautiously optimistic, and if the diligence hadn't been there in terms of the strategy and the property, we looked at two or three property options, asked numerous questions, revisited the diligence a couple of times, but really it was all us pressing you guys. And once we'd settled on the property in and of itself, we've really done nothing other than sign documents.
Okay.
We've got things clear in our mind, signed documents, and it's been very simple and uncomplicated.
What about the selection process? I know obviously you're a very busy professional, and selecting the right property is very time consuming.
It isn't really. I actually found the process quite enjoyable. We ultimately ended up investing in a property interstate. So there has to be that element of trust there. We've not seen the property to date. We've not been to the land. So there's a degree of crystal ballism required on my part and trust. But we actually found the whole process to be quite enjoyable. I love crunching the numbers. We took the numbers away, the reports. We did some additional investigation. Our property is in Queensland, so we were notionally interested in floodplains, etc., etc. So I think just taking Craig, Mark and Benjamin's advice and then putting a dollop of common sense on the top, I think we actually felt that in a tiny way we had really worked hard on it, and that's a nice thing as a couple to kind of bring out of the process.
It's a joint decision
when really
as well.
we didn't do too much, but that's good.
That's good. In terms of the ongoing maintenance of your self-managed super fund, are you finding it's quite time consuming?
Not at all to date. I again have been extremely pleased and relieved that the overhead is quite minimal. So a little bit of effort is required initially to get things set up in the correct fashion, but I think you need to be prepared to invest a tiny bit of time, because you put nothing in, you get nothing out. But so far it hasn't brought a noticeable difference in terms of time required to manage this thing through.
So do you have someone or an organisation that are looking after the day-to-day administration?
Yes, we do, and that's all been sorted out by Treysta as well.
Okay, brilliant. Having visited a financial advisor, are you now more confident about your financial future?
Yes, I am. It's going back to my first point, it's nice to be back on the property ladder again. When I was a kid, it was always drummed into me that it has to be done, and of course it's part of the great Australian dream. I think the biggest thing for us both is that we feel there's a sense of security and positivity. Now we are effectively driving our financial futures rather than hoping that what has been chosen previously by us. I remember when I first came to Australia and I literally ran my finger down a list of super funds and stopped on one that I liked the name of. Miraculously, it actually was performing reasonably well, but I think now we've made considered decisions and we're driving the bus a little bit. It's a nice feeling, and it's actually given us an appetite to do more. So in a short space of time, we've now reached a point where we have a 3-year plan and a 10-year plan. Unsurprisingly, that involves more property investment, but I think that's a nice thing to have rather than just literally keeping your fingers crossed and not cringing too much when Mark Boris appears on television telling us we all need $1 million to retire on, and working out the gap between what I'm going to have when I reach retirement age to that $1 million. So it's a nice feeling. There's still more work to be done, but it is a nice feeling.
That's great. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure.
It's brilliant.